Fresh off his Laver Cup heroics, Carlos Alcaraz is back in action, and he will be playing in China against big serving Frenchman Giovanni and Mpetshi Perricard. We're going to break it down. It is their first meeting. They've never played before, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Before we do get into it, though, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating review if you're listening on a podcast platform. We've teamed up, as usual, with Matchflow Graphics to give you guys this preview. I'm going to go through some of the interesting nuggets of information that you can see on screen if you're a YouTube listener or watcher. And if you are listening on a podcast platform, I'll go through it, so don't you worry. We're then going to go through the form of Carlos Alcaraz and Perricard going into this. And then on top of that, we will break it down strategically and tactically. Obviously, they've never played before, so there's not going to be anything to talk about there. But I would like to talk about it from a tactical standpoint. There are some glaring, I would say, holes in Perricard's game, which Carlos might be able to, take advantage of. But for Perricard, he does have some big strengths, and I'm sure you guys can guess what that is, and he'll have to try and use that to the best of his ability. And it's going to be a tough match, I think, for the Frenchman, but definitely one that he can be competitive in, at least, I would say. If he's able to play some of his best tennis. Before we do get into it, though, I do want to just say as well, thank you to our members. We appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, so let's talk about both players then. So they are playing in China. It's an outdoor hardcourt, and Carlos Alcaraz is currently the number 2 in the world, just behind, well, he's number 3 in the world now, just behind Yannick Sinner. Pico number 1, not too long ago, and aged at 21. Giovanni and Mpetshi Perricard is ranked number 51 in the world, and his peak was only a couple of months ago at 44. He's 21 years of age as well, it's the same age. Carlos Alcaraz's coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, is coming up against Emmanuel Planck, who's in the corner of the Frenchman. Matchflow Graphics have given Carlos Alcaraz a 90% win rate or predicted win percentage, and that's not a surprise. They've never played before, but Alcaraz is the more experienced and has the bigger ability on paper right now, and clearly has results to back it up. 4-time Grand Slam champion, and is just a phenom of a young talent. Perricard a lot more raw in his game, and definitely some things to be polished, but as I said, he's a promising young player. In terms of form for Alcaraz, it's been a very impressive year. Of course, 2 Grand Slam titles, plus the Indian Wells title as well earlier in the year. And then the final loss of the Olympics, which I'm sure was a bit of a heartbreaker for him. Then after that, had some adverse results at Cincinnati and the US Open, but managed to then pick up his form in the Laver Cup, which was interesting. Good to see him play that and look pretty good. It was an indoor hardcourt tournament, so something a bit different, but I think he would have gained some confidence just getting some wins under his belt. In terms of his results this year and like who's he played, so he's won 7 matches out of the 11 that he's played against top 10 rivals, so only lost 4. So that's a win percentage of 64%. He's got an 80% win rate overall this year, plus a 76% win rate on hardcourt, which is actually the lowest out of the 3 surfaces for him so far this year. 81% on clay and 89% on grass. Interestingly, you can see here the top 10 wins he's got, all against some incredible players. Sinner twice, Zverev twice, Medvedev twice, and Djokovic once. So, I mean, it's been an incredible year, I think it's fair to say, for him. And, he will be looking at it thinking, look, it's been a pretty impressive year, and some moments where I'm sure he would have been a bit disappointed at the Olympic final, but not really much else to be extremely disappointed with, I would say. It's been a very, very good year, of course. For Perricard, he has had, a breakthrough season, a real breakthrough season, 50% win rate. He won Lyon in June, and then after that, it was, very good for him, in honesty. He hasn't played any top 10 players as of yet. So this will be his first top 10 player, and what a player to play, right, for your first top 10 performance or matchup. And yeah, you can see as well, and I can tell you guys made the round of 16 of Queens, Wimbledon, Washington, and also Chengdu. Some good wins over Rusevori, Korda, Nishioka, Rusevori on the way to that loss to Musetti at Wimbledon. Beat Shelton in Queens, which was a good win. Sonego again a solid win, as Rusevori, as we mentioned before, and then beat Gaston, Bublik, and Echeverry to win the title in Lyon. Those are all really good wins. I think in Beijing it's going to be interesting because you can see on screen, or I can tell you that his win percentage on hard clay and grass is very different. On hard court, it's only 29%. On clay, 67%, and on grass, it's 57%. So, like, it seems that he's more comfortable on the natural surfaces than hard court. I do think it's probably more to do with the fact that other players are more comfortable on hard court than other surfaces. For him, he's probably equally as comfortable from when I talked to him and interviewed him at Wimbledon. But, you know, the gap is just not as big, and I don't think his game is necessarily better on hard court, in my opinion. In terms of tactically and strategically, there's a few things I think we first of all need to talk about his serve. He's got one of the best performing serves on tour, so that could definitely cause problems for Alcaraz. For Perricard, if I was him, I would be thinking I just need to hold my serve. If I get opportunities on return, great. Otherwise, at least I can try and secure myself a tiebreaker in the sets. He does get broken more than I would expect, especially on hardcore, and something for him to look into. I think it's mainly to do with actually the way that he follows up his first serve, and he needs to be more clinical with that first strike tennis, in my opinion. But his serve is, it's just incredible to watch, and very, very big. Not just off the first serve, but second serve as well. He's got pretty solid hands in the net, but doesn't really come forward as much as he probably should. The forehand can be explosive, but again, needs some work on it. And the backhand, especially. The backhand can get exposed quite easily, the one hander. He's 6'8" and has a one hander. It's already set up to be difficult for him. And, it's not an easy shot. And I just don't think it's the most natural for him. So something for him to continue to work on. And actually, the person that he lost to, Musetti at Wimbledon, he's a good example of how to hit your one hander, although he is significantly shorter than Perricard. So, yes, he needs to serve big and be brave behind it. And then when he gets opportunities on the second serve of Alcaraz, retake those, and then just try and bunt in as many first serves as possible, get into the rally. He obviously will want to try and shorten the points. That's the way he plays, is aggressive. So when he can come to the net, but be selective, because we know how good Alcaraz is at passing players in the net. On top of that, talking of Alcaraz, I mean, he just needs to make sure that he's solid in his returning games, and he is taking opportunities if they come. On his own service games, despite not having a bigger serve or maybe even as effective serve as Perricard, his first strike tennis is a lot better, and he will push Perricard. He will try and expose that backhand side. And the question is, how does Perricard's backhand hold up? And I think he might hold up okay for periods, but generally speaking, I think Alcaraz will definitely get the win. I'm going to go Alcaraz, but I'm going to go straight sets. I'm going to be one tiebreaker and one maybe like 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, something like that. So yeah, I'm going for Alcaraz and straight sets. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you in the next video.